Looks like the House supports saving women's sports. And so GOP reps lower the boom on who's allowed in the girls' locker room. Yesterday, the House of Reps approved a bill barring trans athletes from competing in women's sports, though they're still free to compete in jar opening, peeing for distance, and hogging TV remotes. Upon hearing the news, Leah Thomas said it felt like she'd been kicked in the balls. The legislation, championed by Republican lawmakers and anyone who isn't brain dead, would prohibit biological males from playing on girls' teams at federally supported schools. The bill aims to redefine sex as something that's solely based on a person's reproductive biology and genetics at birth, replacing the definition of sex as something David Angelo does twice a year.
If I'm lucky.
Yes. And if schools do decide to let males participate in programs meant for women and girls, they're going to lose federal funding. But at NYC, of course, sex is defined differently as something to be shared between a teacher and a student. No surprise, the bill received 0 yes votes from House Dems, and it's unlikely to pass the Democrat-controlled Senate. And even if it did, the White House has already said they'd veto it, assuming, of course, they could keep Joe conscious long enough to do it. But it should be noted that although the bill would ban men from playing against girls, it won't affect men competing in wet T-shirt contests as long as they've got the rack for it. So, Dagan, this actually has a weird way of proving that, like, binaryism is just built into our system, that no matter how absurd an issue is, there's going to be two sides to it. Like, for example, so a Republican says a woman has a uterus. You have the entire Democrats going, no, it's not. It's weird how, like, everything has to be binary with these people. Why can't somebody on the Democratic side go, you know what? They're making us look like idiots.
Not one Democrat voted for this. And some of the caterwauling from the left was more absurd than even I could comprehend. There was one Democrat who said this debate has traumatized trans kids. No, you have traumatized kids by even telling them about it.
Yes.
As traumatic as organized competitive team sports in general for children. Again, this focus on sports, it's, you know what, tag is fun when you're 5, but not running around on a soccer field with a bunch of helicopter deranged dads screaming at little kids, score, score, score.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I get tired of hearing that at the bar.
Too much focus on sports for kids. I couldn't hit blind as a bat the side of a bus with a baseball bat when I was a kid.
I agree with that.
Right?
I had
too much
trouble
sports
with T-ball.
Right.
You know you can strike out in T-ball?
What are your thoughts?
Look, I think that it's gotten a little absurd, the overuse of the transphobia to shut people up. Because, you know, I'm someone, I think you have one life to live. Whatever makes you happy, do it. If you were born a man, living as a woman makes you happy, good for you. That, having an issue with that is not the same as saying, hey, if you go through male puberty, your body's going to be different than someone who was born female. You might be better in the pool due to your bone structure being different and these different things. That's just scientific. And to equate that to being someone who hates trans people or is transphobic, it's completely made the debate about something that it shouldn't be and is actually stopping us from having a real debate at all. Because it's just these extremes, and people assume that someone thinks an extreme if they have a question that's based on science. A lot of these athletic organizations have set limits on this based on science. Are all of these organizations just overrun with transphobes?
Yeah.
Or is there maybe something to the biological difference? if you're born one gender versus the other, or one sex versus the other.
It also is frustrating, Kennedy, because you did bring up Title IX, that this basically reverses the initial belief in Title IX that to protect women. Now this says we're not, the Democrats and women in the Democratic Party saying we're not going to protect women. But also the bringing up of what Dagan said, whenever there's an argument, they bring up trans kids. And you're trying to figure out what exactly, a trans kid isn't a trans kid until they make them one. You know, it's not. It's,
I disagree with that a little bit because I do think that there is such a thing as gender dysmorphia.
Oh, of course.
And I recently had brunch. I'm not trying to name drop with Caitlyn Jenner, and we had a great time. And she said that I did.
Oh, well, then he is a woman.
Yeah. We had a very interesting conversation about gender dysmorphia is real. There is also a very real difference between sex and gender. Right. And I'm glad that someone wants to codify that because there are advantages that you get when you go through puberty as a male. And if you're not going to protect women, then if I were a women's volleyball coach at a college, I would just be looking for dudes in pink, you know, and maybe like the Harry Styles influenced guys in pearls.
Yes.
And be like, have you ever thought about a D1 scholarship? Everything's going to be paid for.
That's a great.
We just need some dudes. Some people on the front line who can spike the living daylights out of a ball, and you know you get college paid for.
That's like, a great.
If I were a guy and I wanted to school, I would absolutely do that.
Movie script, guy can't get into the college of his dreams, declares himself non-binary, gets a scholarship to play volleyball at like a women's college.
Way to come up with a transphobic movie.
Yes. But no.
Yeah.
I will cast only trans children.
And when you say cast, you mean cast a spell on them.
Yes. David, has Western Razor sponsored any sports teams? Have you shaven any athletes?
Oh, all right.
I have to really rack my brain on that one.
The list is so long.
Yeah, geez.
Count.
On the record, did we? No, well, this is
it's just a touchy.
It's a great third rail topic.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I guess I disagree, though, sometimes that the idea that biological male is superior in sports. I mean, just as someone, when I was in gym class, you know, we would pick teams, and I was not, picked before most of the women. You know, I'll just tell you right now. Kind of dispels some of that theory, but I don't know. I mean,
that just says a lot about you.
I know,
as an individual. But you're right. People are different. You are uncoordinated, probably in poor health, probably friendless. Very sickly child. No one wanted to be around you. I can imagine you being picked last for almost everything.
Yeah.
You're still single, right?
No, but.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. The other thing about this is it's like, the Republicans, this isn't going to be a law. What are you doing? It's kind of like the country is imploding in a lot of different ways.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Yeah. This is to me, a local issue. Like, it begins local.
I don't know, maybe it's sport by sport, but the governing bodies of sports need to stand up and protect female athletes. Otherwise in gymnastics, Simone Biles does really impressive stuff for women's gymnastics. And your friend Keith will tell you that is rote. That is very basic in men's gymnastics. So if you can, and it is an individual sport as well as a team sport, and if you can get more points with biological males, then why wouldn't you select that? So the individual sports, whether it's swimming, gymnastics, who cares? They're the ones who have to decide. And in that community, if they don't care, that's fine. That's their decision. But they have to grow a pair, as it were, and make some of these tough decisions.
All right, we got to move on.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.